pillars of high voltage SEO. We're here today also with Marco, who's kind of hosting us in the Netherlands. He's also an SEO based here. We've prepared a bit of a workshop on on-page SEO. It's part of the wider part of the wider SEO, and it's the focus for today. So hopefully we'll take you through some of the things that we've learned over the years, and we'll teach you how to get some quick wins for your own SEO. Just a little bit about myself and Kyle. We've both been doing SEO for nearly 10 years. Our agency is about 3 years old, and we have clients in Australia and in Europe and also in the United States. About 50 projects that we're working on at any kind of one time. We have a team of 12 of us, and we do all kinds of businesses, like local businesses, purely online businesses, e-commerce, larger corporate businesses. We do have a lot of different types of SEO we work on.
One of the big differences in our agency, I think, to other agencies is that in the last 2 years, we have conducted over 200 scientific tests on Google's algorithm. Most of those tests we take down to a single variable, and we see if something is or is not a ranking factor. So what we're going to talk about today is not just our experience as SEOs, but it's also the scientific approach that we take to SEO that also has a lot of math behind it as well, and taking those concepts and putting them into practice.
So we're going to cover 4 things. The SEO fundamentals for on-page, some methods of keyword research that maybe you haven't seen before, the structuring of the content on your web pages, and how to then optimize the content on those pages. So, firstly, can everyone see that? This is what we call the reverse silo, and it's a small part of a site architecture. What we have up the top here are the supporting pages to our target page. I'll explain that in a second. In the middle is the target page. That's the page that we're trying to rank in the search engine. And that's usually where we have our product or our service or our offering on that page. That's where we're trying to get customers through. Then there's the home page. It may or may not be the same as the target page, depending on how big your website is. You might have a home page which then links out to all of your products, or maybe you just do one thing. So in that case, it would be the same. These supporting articles in the top are kind of like blog posts and related content that can link into your target page. You can use those to build up content on your website, attract traffic, and link into the target page. So this is a model I'm going to be showing you an example of. We're going to use this website throughout the presentation. It's a client of ours, and they're called New Zealand Skiing Packages. They're an online travel and we're helping them grow their business through SEO. And the primary keyword which we're looking at here is New Zealand ski packages. And then you can see here we've done these are the supporting pages. So this is a page which links back into the home page, and it's an article about the best places to ski in New Zealand. And we have another article which is about the lift ticket prices for mountains in New Zealand. And another one for families, so the best family ski resorts. And in each of these pages we've tried to write really high quality content which is going to be something that's found in the search engines, because it's a phrase that people are searching for the answer. And then we curate the content so it's pretty high quality, and we've got tabled data there. So using just the resources that the client has, we've put together like a comparison of all the different ski resorts. And Google really likes to see this, because if you do it right, and if the page is already ranking quite well in Google, there's a good chance that you can get that to appear in the knowledge graph within the search results. So you can have a piece of information from this page actually showing within Google, which is something that can really help click-through rates to your website as well. So going back to the reverse silo, it's starting to look like this. It's a bit hard to read maybe, but at the top we have these 3 article pages. They're linking to one another and they're linking back into the target page as well. And you can see at the very top there's external backlinks coming into those supporting pages. So this is one of the reasons why we build the content this way, is because you're more likely to be able to attract backlinks to content that's not really selling anything. It's actually providing value to users on the web. If you do outreach to a bunch of different bloggers or publishers and you ask them to send a link into your website, then if you're selling something on that page, they're not going to really be interested unless you pay them a lot of money. But if you're actually providing something that's of value to their community, then you've got a much higher chance of getting links, which then link into your target page indirectly.
An important point with the silo as well is that you may not have been able to see, but the URLs at the top were all different for those supporting pages. One was .com/post, but one was interior.com/category/post. It doesn't matter. These can live anywhere on the website, but the idea is that you've chosen them to support your target page and link in. So you don't actually need like a parent-child structure that you might see in WordPress or other CMSs. These can actually be pages or posts, and the idea is that they're anywhere on your website linking in to your target page.
All right, so on-page fundamentals. There are 2 things that you want to think about with on-page. It's relevance and rank. Relevance is Google understanding what the page is about. And that's usually just getting the keyword on the page. Rank is then how many times you use your keyword and where you use them. And that's what then will move you up in Google results. These are the top places that you can put a keyword on your website. And they're grouped by strength. Group A being the strongest signal. So if you have a keyword that you want to win, you probably want to get into Group A. But meta title, H1, body content, and URL. Those are the top places, with the meta title actually being the most important place to put a keyword. Group B is the next most important. Those are the rest of your H tags, your H2s, H3s, H4s, and anchor text. That's clickable text that's on the page. So not a backlink coming in, but an actual link on your page that contains the keyword. Group C, those are less important. They're not very strong, but they do provide a little bit, and that's your bold, italic, and image alt tag. And then Group D is a little bit different. Search engines are the only ones that see those. Humans don't see this group. But schema are tags that go inside your page. Open graph is for Facebook. Even though it's for Facebook, Google crawls it and reads it and actually counts it as a ranking factor. And then the last one is HTML tags, the structure of your page. If you've named tags, Google sees that and counts that as a ranking factor. Perhaps the most important concept today, if you take one thing from this workshop, is that one keyword is one page. If you have something that you really want to rank for, so when somebody searches it and you want a page to show up, you must have a page dedicated to that keyword. The good news is that if you properly optimize for one main keyword, you will win secondary keywords that come with it. So you don't have to optimize for every possible keyword that you might want to win. You need to figure out your main keyword, optimize for that, and then you'll win your secondary keywords. And we'll show you how to get those.
So how do we find those keywords? Well, firstly, keyword research is really like the market research for the 21st century. There's so much data you can find using different online tools that are going to give you a lot of information on your customer behavior online. And so spending time choosing those right keywords before you begin optimizing pages, buying links, or any kind of other SEO activity, this is the best place to start. A little more on the primary versus secondary keywords that Kai was just talking about. So both need to be on the target page. The primary keyword is the main topic. We just have one primary keyword on a page, so we don't confuse Google. The primary keyword is normally keywords that have the most amount of search traffic, people searching for those terms each month. They are usually highly relevant to the topic or the product that you're trying to sell, and they have a strong commercial intent. And they're often almost always one of the most competitive terms on the page. So that means they're harder to rank for the primary keyword. It's going to take longer to rank for the primary keyword because it's more difficult. But if you win it, you get a lot of traffic. Then you have the secondary keywords. They're related to the primary keywords. It might be like a different way of saying the same thing, or it might be a slight niche subcategory of the more broad category. They could be longer words as well. So typically, the longer the phrase, the less traffic and the less competition it will have in search. It could be a little more targeted, for instance. And if you look through a report showing what kind of words your page is ranking for and you're getting impressions and clicks for, you'll see that your traffic is made up of hundreds of secondary keywords. So even though they're kind of the runners-up, most of the traffic on the page is not going to be coming from your primary keyword. It's going to be coming from the combination of all your secondary keywords together. So how do we actually do that research? Has anyone used AdWords Keyword Planner before, or has anyone done keyword research? You have?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit? Do you have any other tools you use for keyword research?
No, actually not.
Just that one?
That's that one.
That's
Yeah,
totally
it's
fine.
a great tool.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, so the process for doing the keyword research, we're really firstly building a list of different keywords which might be possibilities. Then we're confirming whether they're good, looking at the volume of search traffic and how hard they are to rank. And then we're using a filtering process to find out which ones are going to be the best out of those. So usually we start with just a spreadsheet and do a little bit of brainstorming. Can't really see that. So just from your own knowledge of the topic, if you're working with a client, you can do it with a client. If you're doing it with a colleague, whatever, just get some words out, and then you need to expand on those words.
That first set is probably pretty obvious. I mean, things like, you sell board games, so something related to board games or the type of games. Those are the most obvious.
So you can type in one of those phrases into Google and just see what comes up. Look at your competitors, see what keywords they're using in their title tags. That's what's showing up here at the top in blue is their title tags. It's the most important SEO signal on the page, so probably they're putting their most important keyword in that place on the title. So we can see here like best New Zealand ski package, learn to ski and snowboard in Queenstown, ski packages Queenstown. So some of these we might want to just take and add to the spreadsheet that we've got. Then we can expand using tools like the Keyword Planner. It's from AdWords, so it's Google's advertising platform, but you can also use it for SEO as well as AdWords. You can get an account for free if you just search AdWords. You can set it up. And there's some free tools here. You can see there under Tools, Keyword Planner. Search for new keywords. So there's a few ways you can use this. The first way is you can just take a few of your keywords that you've found already and you can paste them in here, and Google will look for a lot of different ideas and you can then go and add those to your list. Or, this is a way that not many people know to use the tool, you can actually do competitor research with it as well. So if you paste in here the name of a competitor's ranking page, you can get Google to crawl the page, read the content, and then spit out a bunch of ideas which your competitors are trying to rank for.
Most people, it says your landing page, so most people think you can only put in your site. But you can actually put in your competitors, and Google will tell you what they're doing. There are a lot of tools that cost hundreds of dollars a month to do this competitive research, and you can just get it for free from Google.
Yeah, so it's come back with about 300 odd keywords. Not all of them are going to be good. So just spending 5 minutes going through the list, and you just select the ones you like. It'll go into a separate plan. You can open that in a spreadsheet and copy those into your main list. It's also giving you the monthly search volumes here. So you can see here 90 searches a month, 480 searches a month. That's your search volume. Another really cool way of doing keyword research is if you've got something called Search Console set up on your website. Has anyone got Search Console set up? You do? Okay. I can see why you're sitting at the front of the class.
No.
It's a free tool as well from Google, and it connects your website to the search engine. It gives you a lot of different information about how Google is looking at your site. It'll let you know if there's any errors that might be causing problems with search engine. But the tool which I'm using right now is called Search Analytics, and it shows you all the phrases which people are using to bring up your website. And a lot of them you will never have thought of before. There'll be a lot of surprises in there. You'll be like, wow, look at this. We're actually ranking for something I had no idea about. So these can make opportunities for your SEO. If you're ranking for something by accident, then chances are if you do a little bit of work, then you can really improve the results and drive new traffic. So here you can see a range of different phrases. I'll zoom in a bit. There's literally hundreds of these terms which the website is ranking for. Some of them we're optimized for, some of them we haven't. And you can see how many clicks in the last 28 days, how many impressions, click-through rate, and also the average position in Google. And it's a really cool tool as well because it's got a lot of filters. So if you want to just look at, for instance, the rankings and the traffic in your local country, you can do that. Or if you want to look at, like say, desktop versus mobile rankings, you can filter that. Range of different things. So by this stage, you've got a whole range of keywords. Here I've got about 20, but now we need to work out what's going to be our primary keyword. So we're going to look at ones that stand out, and we're going to maybe shortlist to 5 or 6. And we're going to gather the search volumes from Keyword Planner by month. And we're also going to look at something called the difficulty score. And the difficulty score is something, it comes from a piece of SEO software called Moz, M-O-Z. And it's a rank out of 100, telling you how hard it is to rank for that keyword in Google, how much effort it will be, based on the amount of competition. So, as a general rule, we try to stay under a score of 30, because anything over 30 actually gets very difficult. And they're competing against very big sites.
So at this point, most people stop here. They pull out one keyword that they like based on the volume and the difficulty score. And the problem is you need to go one step farther, because remember we talked about those secondary keywords. So if you optimize for one of these keywords, you're going to win your secondary keywords. We need to look at those and make sure they're the right ones as well. To find your secondary keywords, you take a keyword and you do a Google search. Scroll to the bottom of the page and you're going to see related searches. You can win all of those terms right there by properly optimizing that top level phrase. So what you want to do at this point for say 4 or 5 of those primarily like based on the volume and difficulty, grab the related searches and get the volume for those. Sometimes you'll find that the volume is super low, so that's not a great primary keyword. Sometimes you'll find the volume is really high, and that could be a great one. You also want to check the difficulty for it as well, because the cluster might be very difficult or the cluster might be very easy. In this situation, New Zealand ski packages has about 1,000 searches, but the cluster, all those secondary terms, have over 10,000. So then we look at our list, and we pull out our clusters just like these. So for each possible primary keyword, now we're down to say 5, we're going to look at the entire cluster and the difficulty. So in this situation, we like these keywords because they're buyer intent. They're going to get us the right type of client we want. They have great volume cumulatively, and all the difficulty scores are 30 or under.
So we chose the one in yellow even though the one below it has 8 times as much traffic. But you can see that the one in yellow it's closer to a purchase decision because someone's actually looking at a product, a package there. So there's a much higher chance we're going to get a customer out of that. And if you look at the difficulty score, it's nearly half that. So it's going to be much easier for us to get that traffic and then hopefully easiest to convert it into a customer for our client. So the reverse silo looks like this now. We've got the primary keyword, but we've also added those secondary terms. As a general rule, just to get you started, let's say optimize for between 3 and 5 secondary keywords on the page.
And those are terms we're going to put directly on the page as we optimize for that top level phrase.
Yeah, and they come from those related searches. So how do we find those ideas for blog articles for our supporting pages? They're different to the target keywords because they don't necessarily have a commercial intent, which means that the AdWords tool, the keyword planner which we used, is not such a good tool because it's built for advertisers. So if people are wanting to spend money, they'll be bidding on that keyword. But in the case of a lot of these blog article kind of phrases, no one's really wanting to spend any money on those keywords, so they're not really coming up in the keyword planner. So again, starting with some brainstorming. We're looking at the kind of question type phrases like suggestions for, what weather can you expect, best places to go. We already saw like lift ticket prices. They're like how to, where are, like these types of phrases of what we're looking for. So there's a few other places where you can go to get these kinds of ideas for blog articles. Forums is a really good one because it's where people on the web go to find answers to their questions. They go in, they find the best forum, whether it's just for one particular subject or whether it's a broad forum like Reddit or something like that, or also Facebook groups has now taken over a lot of forums as well. You can go in there and just have a look through the relevant group, see what kind of questions people are asking. The ones that you generally have like the longest threads on them are usually going to be the best kind of topics that you can blog about. In the case of New Zealand ski packages, they're in travel. The biggest travel forum is TripAdvisor, and they have a search engine where you can just type in the top right, just your keyword, and you'll get, here we've got 56 different pages on all the questions people have been asking, which we can use as blog content. There's also a section in the Google results page. Here it says, people also ask. That gives you great ideas for questions which people have asked into Google already, so you know there's traffic for those. It doesn't come up for every phrase, but if you look for long enough, you'll find some. And there's a great tool, it's free, it's called answerthepublic.com. It's a search engine for these types of phrases where you can just get a data visualization of the types of questions which people are asking on a certain subject. I just typed in New Zealand skiing or something like that. How good is New Zealand skiing? When does New Zealand ski season start? There's endless amounts of ideas that you can turn into blog content for those supporting pages and link those into your target page. So it begins to look something like this, what we showed you before. You'll see at the top there, there's those external backlinks. And this is part of the reason we're using these supporting pages, because it's important to be generating backlinks to these pages, and it's much easier to generate backlinks to these supporting article pages than pages where you're trying to sell something. If you're doing outreach to publishers, to bloggers, trying to get them to link to your pages on your website, they're not really going to want to link to your page where you're just selling your service. But if you can convince them that their community would get benefit out of reading this article that you've published, you're much more likely to get a link, which then links into your target page indirectly.
One thing you'll notice, best places to ski in New Zealand is a secondary term, so we're going to put it on that page. It can also be a supporting article. If you don't mind that the supporting articles might outrank the target page for that particular term, then that's good to do. If that's a problem, perhaps for a client, or you just don't want that to happen, then don't use a secondary term as a supporting article as well.
All right, so that's the keyword research. Now we kind of want to look at the structure of the content. Your structure, you want to emulate a Roman numeral outline. So in this example, how to make taco shells is the keyword I want to rank for. And that's my Roman numeral 1. My A and my B then support this top level phrase. So my A and my B are hard shell tacos and soft shell tacos, the two types of tacos. And then my 1s support their A and the B, so hard shell tacos, corn tortillas, soft shell tacos, flour tortillas. You can see then how that turns into a web page outline with my H tags. My Roman numeral 1, my most important thing, my main topic, my primary keyword, is my H1. And remember, that's from group A, the most important, one of the most important places to put a keyword. My A's and B's and 1s and 2s becomes H2s and H3s. Remember, that's from group B, the next most important, and then that's where they go. So this is the outline that you want to do. When you do your writing, you want to form it in a Roman numeral outline first to organize your page. Now, one thing you'll notice, this is about tacos. There's nothing about enchiladas or burritos in here. As soon as I start talking about enchiladas, that's a new page. You know, and food examples are simple and funny, but if you've written web content, look at your taco page, and I bet you've got some enchiladas in there. And you need to pull them out, and they need to become their own web content with this structure.
Are you guys all familiar with what H tags are on a page? Yes?
Yeah.
Anyone not? Oh, okay, cool. That's important, just to check. So if we just bring that concept back to New Zealand ski packages, here we've got the related search terms highlighted in blue from our primary keyword that we've chosen. And we need to put those into the page structure on our target page. So it might look something like this. Everything that's underlined is either the primary keyword at the top, in the H1, and also in the title of the page. And the others are the related search terms in like their exact match. They don't have to be just the keyword. You can see here that it's been put into a longer phrase. That's totally fine, but just try to fit the related searches into the H2s, the H3s, the body copy, and so on down the page, in accordance with that, the different areas that Kyle showed in the beginning about the most important is your H1 and your titles, that's for your primary, and the secondary keywords fit into your H2s and your H3s and your body copy and other places on the page. Quick recap on what we've gone through so far. The reverse silo model, how to connect your pages together in a way that's best for ranking. We understand how to, what are target pages versus the supporting pages, how to do keyword research, how to choose those primary keywords that fit with the secondary keywords, and how to structure the page outline.
Alright, so optimizing for rank. So all of that is relevance. We talked about that there's relevance and rank, so that's getting the keyword on the page, that's relevance. Google understands what the page is about. Now we're going to talk about rank, and that's moving it up. There are 4 elements of rank. Using your exact keyword in specific places, so that's New Zealand ski packages exactly in particular places, in specific places. Variations of that. Latent semantic indexing, and we'll talk about what that is, and word count. When we talk about the 200 tests that we've done, a lot of the tests go into this right here. We've shown that these are the ranking elements and how to manipulate them.
Okay, so word count. Word count is a ranking factor. If you have pages that only have 250 words of content on them, and you're trying to compete on a keyword where your competitors have 2,000 words on their page, then already you're at a huge disadvantage. And that's a really common problem that we first have to fix, is that we're working with clients who have hardly any content on their pages. In terms of e-commerce pages, or what you kind of mentioned about where there's just a general lack of content on your competitors, you don't need to always get 1,300 words on a page. E-commerce pages, if you've got many products, often it's just a short description. So as a general rule of thumb, maybe 250 words. But again, the best thing to do is to look at what the competitors are doing, who are right up the top of the results for that keyword, and count how many words they have on their pages.
Unique content, a lot of people get very concerned about duplicate content on their pages. The threshold is actually very low. Your content only needs to be 51% unique to get past Google's filter. So if you have 100 words that maybe everybody has for a particular product on your page, you only need 110 words extra to get past the duplicate content filter, and Google will then consider that a unique page. We use Copyscape for that. It's not free, but it's very cheap. $10 will probably get you through your project, but it'll show you how unique all your pages are according to the web. LSI, latent semantic indexing, a lot of people get this confused. LSI are words that come up in a conversation about something. So if I'm talking about kitchens, LSI are sink, stove, refrigerator, pantry, cooking. Those are other terms that come up when you're talking about a kitchen. A lot of people think that LSI is synonyms, and it's not. It's the other words, the latent semantics. We use nTopic. It's also very cheap. It's about $10. It looks like this. You put in your content here, and then the tool spits out possible LSI terms for you. Don't worry about the score. It's easy to game and not very useful. But what you want to look for are terms in here that are not your keyword, not your primary keyword or your secondary keyword, but other terms that would come up in a conversation. The red means that they don't exist in the copy. You don't need to jam them in. It's just natural writing, pepper them in so that it sounds correct. But that's the kind of thing that Google's looking for to see good content.
Exact matches are the exact phrase, the primary keyword that you've got on your page, without any variables in it. So in this case, New Zealand ski packages. The variations are the things that I'll show you in a minute come up in bold when you do that search in Google. And they could be like really closely related words, like synonyms. They could be just partial matches of the longer phrase, so just single words or part of that longer phrase. They could be just little modifiers or abbreviations, and it looks kind of like this. Let's see if I can zoom. Make it smaller. Okay. So if you do a search in Google, you'll see that the results come up with certain words in the grey area in the results in bold text. And the bold text is what Google is considering a variation of the keyword. So are more or less the same, and it's connecting a lot of these different variations of the keyword to the keyword itself. And the reason this is important is because a lot of pages, if you check the use of exact match keywords on the page for the keyword that you're trying to rank for, you'll actually find out that they might have just used it once on the page, or they might have just not used it at all on the page. But they're still ranking up the top of Google. So if you go through and put that 10 times throughout the page, Google compares your page to the other pages that are ranking, and it's going to say, this page is trying to game the algorithm. It's not in line with the rest of the pages that are being rewarded for it, so we're going to drop it down. So the key is to using a lot of the variations of the keyword throughout the page, and maybe using a little bit less of the exact match than you might otherwise think. Does that make sense?
All right, so the rough and dirty approach to optimization, you just need to get it done. We got to write this content, we got to get it out, it needs to be SEO'd. This is the quick way to do it. So you want to get your target keyword in the top, in group A. So that's your meta title, your URL, your H1, and body copy. Your exact match needs to go there. You want your meta title and your H1 to be the same, and you should only have one H1 on the page. Everything else, your secondary keywords, your and variations, they go in your H2s, H3s, H4s, image alt, bold, and italic, lists, and your text in the meta description. So if you properly outlined, as we showed that, that's pretty much the rough and dirty approach. Taking your outline and just kind of putting it directly in on the page will get it done. And that's going to do it pretty well for less competitive terms. It's also going to get you indexed and ranking not bad even for the competitive ones. It'll move you in the right direction. The scientific approach is a lot more difficult, and it's a lot more time consuming. So these are when you really want to rank for something, that's when you would invest this time. But the thing is, the secret to optimization is hiding in plain sight. Google has shown you a roadmap for rank, and those are the terms, those are the pages that are currently winning a particular term. What you have to go in and do is count how many times they are using their keywords in those places, in the different groups, A, B, and C, how many times they're using it, where they're using it, and what those variations are. You create a critical min-max, a range that Google is rewarding, and then you write your pages, you optimize your pages according to that range. A huge thing that we learned last year is that optimization isn't by the page, it's by the individual signal. Each signal is in its own vertical and has to be optimized on its own. Many people make the mistake and say, I think this page is over-optimized, or I think this page is under-optimized. Usually what we find is pages are both over and under at the same time. It's because the individual signals need to be checked. So some signals are over-optimized, but some signals are under-optimized. And that's why most people get stuck in their SEO. They'll get stuck on page 2 or page 3. It's because they're tweaking the whole page and not individual signals.
So you can't just say, I don't have an H2 with this keyword in it, but that's okay because I put it 5 times in an H3. Because it doesn't work like that. So we can do this manually. There's a few tools we've put down there which you can have a look at. SEO Quake will help you to count the word count on a page. It will help you work out the density of title descriptions and keywords on a page. There's a couple others there, but it's a lot of manual work. And we kind of worked out that this is maybe the key to fixing your on-page, which can make a real difference to rankings. And so we started kind of building our own tool that would kind of do it, because there was really nothing out there. And we recently released the tool. It's called Page Optimizer, and we're just going to give you a kind of a demo on how it works. There's also a promo code there. You can use it for free if you put in that promo code. It's just for you guys. So I was hoping we could get someone willing to volunteer their website and a phrase that they're trying to rank in Google, and we can see how they perform. Do you have an English version of this site, or is it all you do?
It is in English.
It is in English. Okay.
It makes it easier. We did not practice our Dutch.
Yeah, because the other one.
The demonstrations have been
Now your
difficult.
English was for international
We have the expression actually in Australia, if someone's talking nonsense, we call it double Dutch. I don't know if anyone's heard of that. What's the name of the site?
It's ofcourse.io. O-double-A and of course. Of course, presentation.
Is it the homepage?
Yeah.
Is this your site?
Yes.
So what's something you're trying to rank the homepage for, if anything? And it doesn't have to be perfect, right?
Learning or alternative learning,
Alternative.
online learning, craft learning.
Alternative.
Online learning platform or online learning?
Something.
Yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
So what the tool's going to do there is it's going to pull out those bold terms, which are the variations. It's going 4 is in about a minute. Grab it and put them in so you can see.
Would you say Udemy was a competitor?
Yeah.
Any of these you recognize?
Analytics.
edX. At the bottom.
Voting.
Moodle?
When choosing competitors, you want to choose the sites that are clearly winning because of their on-page. So like if YouTube is beating you for something, that's probably not a good one to put in your tool because they're winning for other reasons. You also want to choose sites that are above you, and maybe some that are below you that look really strong, but primarily the ones that are beating you, because what the tool is going to do is going to compare your site, what you're doing, to what they're doing, and then make suggestions based on that.
Okay. So we'll run that. And while we're doing that, we'll just take you through an example which we did recently.
So this is Motorcycle Course Nova Scotia. We chose that as a keyword because these guys didn't hire us, so we thought, fuck them, we'll use this as our case study and show them how to rank. So we put a page on our site. So this is our agency site. It has nothing to do with motorcycles or courses in Nova Scotia.
Page is still there.
Yeah, so you can see the H1 is Motorcycle Course Nova Scotia. That Motorcycle Training Course Nova Scotia, that's a related search, that's an H2. And we did the rough and dirty approach. So put the outline, put it up, and put it on the site. So the primary keyword ranked on page 2, but notice the Motorcycle Training Course Nova Scotia, you can see that's an H2. It's only on the page one time, and it also hit page 2. Same with the Nova Scotia Motorcycle Balance Test, that's also only on the page one time, and it also hit page 2, and this happened in about 30 minutes from the launch, from kind of doing that outline and putting it in. We then, and it's an orphan page, so it has no links from the site, no internal links are coming into it, and no external links. It's completely on its own. And as I said, it's completely not relevant to our website. This is the an Excel version of our tool, and you can get that if you need. You can see that target min, target max. So for the meta titles, target min 4, max 4, word 4, leave as is. But you can then see in those different signals, we're talking about groups A, groups B, group C, reduce, reduce, and reduce again. And the tool will tell you that in this signal, increase or decrease by this much, or you're good, leave as is. And it's going to show that for the variations and the exact match usage. So this is the exact match side, so we got it as we needed it. And then the next side, there's our variations. And then it gives you a little page score compared to those competitors that you're putting in. We then relaunched the page and re-indexed it, and we hit number 4 on page 1. I think if you search from Holland, I think we're like 5 or 6 on this server. That's not what I want to show you. What I want to show you is that this is the page zoomed in. We used lorem ipsum. So we figured out how many words we needed, and we used lorem ipsum and put it in, and then we just copied and pasted our exact match and our variation and our LSI as the tool told us to do, according to our competitors, and we hit. Point is, Google can't read. You hear, you must have the best content, you must have unique content, you must be beautiful, and Google will reward you, and that's not true. Ranking is counting what you need to do and then putting it into the right places, and the rest of it doesn't matter. The rest of it's filling. The rest of it's more mixed. Now, obviously, you need good content because you want people to buy your product and you want them to interact with it. But when it comes to rank, that has nothing to do with it. What it comes down to is math and crunching the numbers on where you need to place your keywords, how many times you need to place them, where you need to place your variations, and then put it into play, and you'll rank them.
It's also interesting. Oh, please. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that rank brain is something which Google is really promoting as a really heavily weighted signal inside of their algorithm, which is like supposed to be based on AI, machine learning, where Google is tracking how people are using your page and deciding whether it was a good experience or not. So a bad experience would be if someone clicked on your page, and Google's tracking it, they stay for a second, they have a low dwell time, then they come back and they click on one of your competitors' pages underneath. And they're looking for what they call a completed search, which is where someone's gone to your website and then they don't click on any more pages. And they might come back to Google and either close it or do another search. So they're promoting this as being a heavily weighted part of their algorithm. But this page here, this one has like the highest bounce rate ever. Anyone who goes to this page would just leave straight away. But it's been staying in position 4 for months. It hasn't moved.
And it's not just a one search kind of term. The 460 that's the impressions for the month. So that's what people are searching for. And we got 61 clicks in a month. So a lot of people are checking it out and they're having a terrible experience.
For now, until we start offering more
Still,
courses.
on top of that, there are also 10 companies that are vying for this term too. And Nova Scotia is not a big place, so it's highly competitive for a small market. You know, there are 10 companies actively doing SEO, actively trying to get this term, and there we sit. So this is the output that you get. So it shows you your exact keywords and your variations, how many are under and how many are over. In this case, it's saying according to those competitors, you've got 3 exact keywords that are under and 5 variations that are under. So this is what it pulls out, just like that spreadsheet. So in this situation, you can see that your competitors aren't using the exact match phrase. This is pretty common for longer phrases. This is where a lot of people get in trouble because they start throwing the keyword, the exact keyword, on the page a lot, and they instantly go over. So according to the tool, what you want to do is just put it in your meta title under H1. That's all you need to do for your exact match keyword. Then on the variations side, you can see it's a little more nuanced, where you need to add increase in different places according to how they're performing. We also have the word count up there. So you're spot on. So in this situation, you probably don't need to add any content or reduce any content. But here you can see, like, if you're way off, like if your competitors have article type pages and you've got a little product, you probably have the wrong page, or vice versa.
You don't need to write 1,300 words. You've already been counting.
Tag totals. What this does is this shows you what your page should look like. So how many images are my competitors using? Are they using videos? Are they using forms? Like, what does this page look like? So if you're crafting the page, you can get an idea of all the different signals, whether they're optimized or not, but just how the page looks. And then the last one is the summary, and that's where you can kind of see what you've done. So those are your competitors, those are your variations, your score. That's just compared to your competitors. And then you can download an Excel sheet if you need that in turn.
Anything else you want to show? Okay,
That's the tool.
alright, so final recap. The reverse silo content model. Supporting articles linking to one another, linking into the target page, and vice versa. Target versus supporting pages. How to do keyword research, and then choose the primary versus the secondary keywords. How to structure the page outline on each of your pages, and how to then optimize the content, both in the rough and dirty way, as Carl put it, or in the scientific way. So, just lastly, before we finish off, these are the tools that we used. If you want to, we'll give you a copy of this, and if you want to use them yourself, they link there. Marco at the back is our local SEO expert on the ground. He does Dutch SEO, we don't. Yeah, that's pretty much it for